Hey everybody, I hope and pray that you're doing well. Today, as we come to our word from the word, and today that word is cannot. Cannot. Now, it's something to think about with scripture. What do you mean cannot? Because isn't it great that we serve a God who can? And that's exactly really the point of this psalm today. As the psalmist is talking about praise and even talking about yesterday how we should answer the call to praise, think about think about this truth that as the Israelites were singing and praising God, they were always able to look back at their history and see what God had rescued them from. They also saw really just a wide variety of little g gods throughout all the foreign lands and nations. And so they knew that these little g gods, even you'll see in this psalm, not part that we're going to read today, but you'll see in this psalm and all throughout scripture that they'll say that God is the greatest of all gods, little g gods. Now, that doesn't mean that they exist. It just means that they are actually, that we see them because that's what man made little g gods are. That as we see those man made gods that people worship and they think that they're all powerful, he's saying, no, we serve the most powerful God. Because the whole point of Israel, or not the whole point of Israel, but one of the main reasons for Israel to be there was to point people to the one true God, that Yahweh was the only true God. The rest of them were just imitations and the really figments of their imagination and even the use of demonic powers at times. But today I want us to see uh, we often talk about what God can do. Today, I want us to notice what even our man-made idols and what all those things. And an idol, for that matter, is just anything that we put between us and God. Anything that we give more importance to, more time to than God, is an idol or a little g God. So here today, we talk about what God can do. Let's look at what all those idols and little g gods cannot do. So Psalm 135 today, verses 15 through 18. The idols of the nations are silver and gold, the work of men's hands. They have mouths, but they do not speak. Eyes they have, but they do not see. They have ears, but they do not hear, nor is there any breath in their mouths. Those who make them are like them. So is everyone who trusts in them. And you think about that last verse there, to think about, he's saying, look, that not only are the idols that are made, he said, not only do they not have any life at all, so are the people that put their trust in them. So you think about it, if we have dead idols, then we are dead ourselves. And that's the problem with the lost and dying world today. They don't know God, so they don't have life, and so they will continue on in their sinful death, which means a sinful and eternal punishment in hell. Now, to think about that, if we're always excited to talk about in our own lives and in our own circles about what what God can do, why aren't we more vocal, letting the lost know what their little idols cannot do? You think about that. How many times people uh, turn to anything? You think about the ones that turns to drugs and alcohol, and they think that's going to solve their problems. Well, their drugs and alcohol don't have ears; they can't hear. And even as they were saying, look, he says they were making little man-made idols, and they looked like men, right? They were made in man's image, and we're sinful and flawed. And so if you say, okay, well, I'm making something in my own image, and then I'm going to worship it. How much sense does that make? Because now I made it. I'm more powerful than this little block of wood or this silver and gold statue, no matter how big it is, right? They were making it with their own hands and then using this to be their God. But see, even believers, we can be so quickly swayed and so quickly pulled away. Think about the Israelites, right? Even just as soon as they come out through the Red Sea, and then while they're waiting on Moses to come back, they get impatient. They burn down or they melt down all their gold and make an image and say, hey, this is the God that brought you out of Egypt. No, it's not. And so many times we'll look and put these things in our own hands and we'll think that we've gotten, hey, I'm the one that got myself out of that situation. Hey, that doctor's the one that rescued me from that situation. Hey, that officer or that teacher or this person, this friend, this spouse, this family member, this coworker, whomever, you'll say, that's the person that helped me and rescued me. No, they're not. God, the one true God, is the only one who can rescue. He's the only one that can save. Anything else is just in our own image. You think about it, if we make something in our image and then worship it as God, no. Instead, we need to realize that we were made in the image of God and that He's the one that needs to be praised. He's the one that deserves all of our praise. He's the one that deserves all of our worship. Because if God is spirit and we worship Him in spirit and in truth, and yes, we'll try to give Him the human features because that's all we can think to say, well, does He have an ear? But I can tell you this, God hears. Say, well, does He have eyes? Well, I know this, He sees. You can go down the list and know that God hears you. God sees you. God breathes breath of life into you just like He did to Adam. He knew you. He knitted you together in your mother's womb. That's the God who deserves our praise, not some idol that cannot do anything of eternal value for a single one of us. Today, let's praise the God who can. God bless you, and I pray you have a great, great day.